The moment the lawyer cleared his throat, the room's heavy silence felt like a vice around my chest. Sunlight poured unevenly through the tall windows, catching the dust in golden streaks. I forced myself to sit upright, my hands trembling despite my best effort to keep them still. My sister, Juliana, sat across from me, her manicured fingers drumming lightly on the velvet armrest of the chair as though she had already won some invisible prize. I tried not to notice the sly smile tugging at her lips, the way her eyes flickered toward our parents with that familiar mix of admiration and cunning. The lawyer's voice carried, flat and professional, across the room. "We are here to execute the final wishes of your late father. Let's begin with the estate allocations." I braced myself, heart thumping violently. I had always been the responsible one, the one who stayed late at the office to pay the bills, who listened patiently to my parents' endless criticisms, who held our family together during crises no one else wanted to touch. Surely, that mattered. Surely, years of loyalty and compromise would count for something. The first envelope went to Juliana. My mother handed it over, her fingers brushing against my sister's with a tenderness so exaggerated it made my stomach twist. My father chuckled, low and conspiratorial, like he was in on some private joke. Juliana tore it open and gasped, eyes wide. $6,900,000, she whispered, almost theatrically, before launching into delighted laughter. My parents joined her, their laughter ringing around the ornate room like a cruel echo. I waited, my palms growing clammy. My mother finally turned toward me, a single envelope in her hand. She extended it lazily, almost disdainfully. "Here," she said. $1. Just like you always wanted." A lump formed in my throat. My father's chuckle rang in my ears. "You'll understand someday," he said. "It's all about character." I stared at the envelope, incredulous. $1. $F******ing. Dollar. My mind scrambled, desperate for logic, for some twisted justification that would make the scene tolerable. But no words came. All I felt was a cold, burning anger that spread like acid through my veins. Juliana hugged the envelope to her chest, still laughing, still basking in their approval. I could barely breathe, the world around me blurring into a haze of resentment and disbelief. Later, when the lawyer had left and the room was drained of its oppressive attention, my mother sidled up beside me. "Don't take it personally," she said, her voice syrupy, patronizing. "Your sister, she has a way with people. She just understands the finer things in life." I wanted to scream, to tell her that this was more than money. It was acknowledgement, validation, something I'd craved my entire life. But the words stuck in my throat, thick and bitter. It wasn't until that night, alone in my apartment, that the truth began to gnaw at me. I replayed the day over and over, the laughter, the eyes, the subtle, intimate gestures my parents had reserved for Juliana. Something about the way my father had looked at her, something secretive, almost affectionate, didn't sit right. I opened the envelope my mother had given me. The single crisp dollar seemed heavier than any weight I'd ever carried. And then I noticed it, a small, folded note tucked beneath it. My hands shook as I unfolded it. "You'll understand when you're ready for real life. Don't be naive. Your sister, she knows how to survive." A cold rage surged through me, but beneath it was something darker, a gut-twisting betrayal, a gnawing suspicion that perhaps my entire relationship with my family had been a lie. My parents' love, their pride, their praise, it all felt performative, transactional. And the look in Juliana's eyes, that triumphant glint, they weren't just enjoying the money. They were enjoying the betrayal. The next few days were a blur of confrontation and denial. I asked my mother point-blank why I had been treated this way. She smiled, that same condescending curl of her lips. "You're sensitive," she said. "Always have been. Your sister, she knows how to play the game. That's all. You just don't." I tried to rationalize it, tried to believe maybe it wasn't personal. But every memory of my childhood, every sacrifice, every quiet moment of care, now felt like a setup. Like I had been trained to fail in their eyes. Then, I noticed Juliana's little behaviors, those subtle manipulations I had always dismissed as harmless sibling rivalry. How she leaned into my parents during conversations, whispered jokes behind my back, smiled in ways that suggested inside knowledge. The more I watched, the clearer it became, this wasn't about inheritance. This was about power, control, and betrayal in its most intimate, insidious form. I confronted Juliana one evening over dinner. My voice shook with barely contained fury. Did you plan this? Did you manipulate them? Did you lie about everything? Her eyes widened, innocent at first, then flicked with something darker, almost amused. Why would I? She asked softly, tilting her head, the picture of feigned sincerity. You're imagining things. Maybe you should accept life as it is instead of trying to read into every smile. That was the final straw. I could no longer deny it. The betrayal wasn't just about the dollar. It was the years of subtle favoritism, the quiet undermining of my worth, the way they had groomed her to succeed while letting me flounder. The realization shattered me. The people I loved most had conspired, consciously or unconsciously, to leave me behind. Sleep became impossible. I replayed every conversation, every gesture, every half-hearted compliment, searching for moments where I had been fooled. The hurt coiled inside me, a living thing, gnawing at my insides. Months later, I confronted my parents in the cold light of truth. They didn't deny it. My father shrugged, eyes tired. You can't see the forest for the trees. She's meant to thrive. You were meant to learn restraint. I felt my soul fracture, the fragile trust one had in them crumbling into dust. I walked away, leaving my family behind, not in anger, but in quiet, numbing sorrow. The betrayal wasn't dramatic, wasn't violent. It was a slow, insidious poison, and I had been its most careful, unsuspecting victim. Sometimes, I still see Juliana's face in my dreams, smug and victorious. And I realize, betrayal doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it smiles, laughs, and hands you a $1, and you only understand the depth of the wound when the echo fades, and you're left to pick up the pieces alone.